Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Joshua Gill with the Daily Caller News Foundation here at the Values Voter Summit with Kevin and Sam Sorbo for the screening of their newest movie, Let There Be Light, about one man's journey to wrestle with questions of faith, life, and death after a near-death experience causes him to question everything he thought he knew about the grief of losing a loved one and the existence of God. Kevin and Sam, thank you for joining us.
I'm telling you, I'm just impressed with what you just said.
That was pretty cool.
I need to make you come with me in all of our PR on this movie. I'm in the movie, I directed it. You described it better than I did.
Well, thank you.
Very good. Anyway, well, we're a pleasure to be here, by the way.
Now, I understand, so Sam, you helped write this movie with Dan Gordon.
She wrote the original draft, the full script.
Okay, wow.
And then...
Well, I called Dan when I had the idea for the movie, and I said, "Hey, would you consider writing a movie with me?" And he said no, because he's a really well-known Hollywood screenwriter, and he doesn't need to write a screenplay with somebody. But we went out to lunch, and at the end of lunch, he said, "So tell me your idea." And I told him the idea: the world's greatest atheist has a near-death experience and sees something that just doesn't jive with his worldview, right? Because atheism is a religion. Yeah. It's a belief in nothingness. It takes great faith to believe that all of this happened purely by accident, out of nothing. Yes. Literally originated from nothing.
Nothing.
So, and the more we talked about it, he was drawn to it immediately, and he listened to the idea and he said, "Okay, I'm in," which shocked me. And then we decided we started working on it. 2 weeks later, Sean Hannity called Kevin out of the blue and said, "Hey, I want to produce a faith-based movie with you. Do you have anything?"
Wow.
And I said, I do. Let's do this, right? And we flew to New York, Kevin, Dan, and myself, and pitched Sean. Yep. And a half hour later, we had the money to make the movie. Yep. I mean, it doesn't happen like this. It's just really miraculous.
And I've met Sean a number of times. I've been on his show many times through the years of my other movies and whatever reasons I was on it. Right. I've done a lot with Fox, and he just said, "Hey, let's do something," because Fox is one of the few outlets you can actually talk about God on.
Well,
apparently.
He decided he wanted to enter the culture.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating is right now we are seeing the underbelly of Hollywood. I mean, we are seeing the dregs of the dregs. The truth is coming out, and it's not pretty at all. And at the same time, our movie's coming out, and our movie was produced seriously outside of Hollywood by a completely independent producer who just wanted to make good quality, family-friendly films. Yeah. And the juxtaposition is so fascinating to me. So I'm hoping that people will go to the theater and say and vote basically with their pocketbooks and with their feet and say, these are the kinds of films that we want to see. Faith-based, good morals, good principles, uplifting, hope-filled. I mean, there's so much tragedy in real life. Why are we watching zombie kind of stuff on televisions and in movies? Why are we watching the bad guy winning? I mean, Hollywood has this love affair with the bad guy.
It started with the 60s, really. There was a big culture change when they glorified the bad guy. That to be bad, to kill people, to be mean.
Started with an anti-hero sort of thing.
Yeah, the whole anti-hero thing. And it's people I get... Not everybody, obviously, because some people still love that, but a lot of people, and they're getting tired of it, and they want something different. And this is a movie that offers, I think, it offers hope. It offers light from the title. It offers redemption. It offers a chance to... there's something in this movie that will touch everybody, man, woman, and child. There's something in there that will move them in some way or say that I can relate to that. And look, I like a good ride, too. I like going to see, Transformers. Right. But you sit there and you're watching these things and you're going, wow, that 5 buildings just went down. There was like 20,000 people just died, but nobody's thinking about that but me, And you walk out and you don't care about the characters because there's no character development. This type of movie is an actor's movie, I call it, where the actors, you get to act, you get to...
It's a writer's movie.
It's a writer's movie.
That's why Dan wanted to be involved.
You're right. No, you're right.
No, but it is an actor's movie,
But you create characters that people can relate to.
Yeah.
It speaks to the heart.
Yeah.
It speaks to the heart. Yeah. He says things really well, this guy.
Well, thank you.
Nicely put.
Well, I recently saw the movie, and it's an incredibly emotional story, and it deals with a lot of heavy subjects. I mean, not to give too much away about the film, but, it starts off with parents dealing with the loss of a child, divorce, family estrangement, just a lot of familial brokenness.
Drug abuse, alcoholism. I mean, just the pitfalls of just living in the world of being, that's dark.
Yes, the dark elements of the world. But here's the way I look at it. The film deals with two people who are trying to walk through their grief. And one of them walks alone. Says, I don't need God, and I don't need you, and I don't need anybody.
That'd be my character.
And I'm walking it alone.
Yeah.
And he spirals out of control, as often happens. And the other person walks with the Lord, walks with Christ, walks with her religion, uses the church, and holds her family, what she can of her family together. And she's a much more comforted person that way. So that's really the juxtaposition that you see in the film. The film gives hope, but the important part of the film to me is that it looks at death. And as a culture, we don't look at death. We don't look at what happens later. We're very much the me, now generation. And I think it's important, right? I think it's important to look at long term. Where are we going? What are we doing here? What's the purpose? We teach in schools. We're teaching our children human secularism. We're teaching them Darwinism, evolution, that they are accidents. Mm-hmm. How can an accident have purpose? You're teaching if you're sending your child to public school, they're teaching your child that your child's an accident, therefore has no purpose. Also, survival of the fittest.
Right.
Where does that lead? Survival of the fittest leads to bullying. No, don't bully. But survival of the fittest. Harvey Weinstein, big bully.
Right.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? Yeah. Survival of the fittest.
And trust me, that's the tip of the iceberg in Hollywood. It really is.
That is the fear.
And they make jokes about all the time. They call it the casting couch. Casting couch has been around a long, long time.
There's a reason for that, right?
Pressured, people get, and it's like, you want the job, do you? Okay. So they're in positions of power, and they abuse that power over and over again.
As Christians in the film industry, you've talked a lot about the need to change culture, specifically through filmmaking as a sort of culture shaper. But how do you begin to even address a culture and an industry that's not only hostile to that worldview, but, as you've said, enables predators like Harvey Weinstein? Where do you begin?
Well, I think in movies like this helps that. It really does. Like I brought the 60s again, because prior to the 60s, Hollywood was a very conservative and even Christian and Jewish community.
Yeah, faith-filled community.
Faith-filled community. And we have gotten away from that over the last 50, 60 years. And through that time, really the last 15 years it's just accelerated. The anger, the hate. I've got friends who are atheists. I've got liberal friends in Hollywood. I don't understand the anger. I don't understand. Why are you so angry about something you don't believe in? Why are you so angry about somebody, like, if I have a faith? What does that bother you? What have Christians done to the world? It's been such,
Because there's a moral standard, and they do not wish to uphold the moral standard. Harvey Weinstein would like to think that there was nothing wrong with what he did. And for that reason, they believe in survival of the fittest, right? Yeah. And they say, well, then survival of the fittest. The problem is now America's waking up and saying, no, that's not right. Yeah. So, and if you saw, I think just recently they showed him at rehab. He looks like he's having a good time. Like, he doesn't look remorseful or anything. He did it for years and years and years, apparently.
What kind of rehab is he supposed to be in?
If that's true, then he obviously, along that time, was he thinking that he was doing something wrong? Why now? Why all of a sudden, because the New York Times broke the story. Yeah. They squashed it last year.
No, he never believed he was doing anything wrong. No.
So
he believed it was
how do you
right,
change?
entitlement.
How do you change the culture? Because Hollywood sets the culture. The culture is set through entertainment. Storytelling is extraordinarily powerful, and the people who are invested in Hollywood today know that. And that's why the stories that we're seeing are the stories that we're seeing. And many of them denigrate the role of the father, denigrate the father. The father in every sitcom is like the idiot.
He's the idiot. He's the frumpy guy. The wife's the hot one, and the kids just make fun of dad. And so they belittle the fatherhood figure. And it's through generations now, it's ingrained in people's heads.
It is. And so our efforts are, let's try to change the culture. We'll do it through storytelling. We'll tell uplifting stories that have moral messages, that depict moral characters or characters in moral turmoil who struggle with the violence that happens or whatever, not who glorify the violence that happens, right? Right. And that's the way you change the culture. But at the same time, we need the support of people out there who are going to come see the film. We need America to step up. And I think we're at that point now. Yeah. Because with the last election, we got Trump elected. That was enormous, right? So all of a sudden, the American people are thinking, wait a minute, my vote does count because we won that, right? Then you fast forward to the NFL, and Trump brilliantly took on the NFL, just literally pinpointed them and said, you guys better step up because what you're doing is wrong. And the American people backed him. They said, you know what? He's right. He's standing for my values. That's what I think. I think they should stand for the anthem. And so Roger Goodell backed down. Now I've heard that he's reversed his position, but initially he backed down. And the American people are saying, you know what? We're going to change this. We're going to turn this around. And now they have another opportunity. There are several faith-based films this fall. I don't know all their names. I know Let There Be Light. That's one of them.
Let There Be Light, the movie.com. Let There Be Light, the movie.com.
Comes out October 27th.
Comes out October 27th.
Yes, it does.
And here's an opportunity to send a message, not just to Hollywood, but to independent filmmakers out there. Here, we will support you. We want this. We want to see this shift in our culture. We want to uphold virtue. Because without virtue, the society will crumble. Because here's the thing. If lying is okay, then I have no problem signing any document you put in front of me and then doing whatever I want. Contracts are null and void. There is no such thing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's the complete destruction of society when we lose virtue. When we lose those characteristics that really made America.
And that goes back to your earlier point about teaching humanism, looking out for number one, survival of the fittest.
See, what argument do people have against ISIS if they believe in survival of the fittest, right?
Right.
You know?
You touch on that in this movie.
I'm not happy for them. I'm not a fan of theirs. But really, what we need is people to get out there and support this movie. Because I get stopped all the time, people saying, please make more movies like this. Well, here we are. We're making more movies like this, but they need to support it. They need to go to their churches. They need to go to schools. They need to go to
talk to people about it.
Everything.
Tell people
about
it.
If you're watching, go to the local theater. If you go to any movie theater in America and say, if you pick up this movie for 3 days, we'll fill up the theater for 3 days. They'll pick up the movie.
They'll book the movie
because it's called show business, right? Not show. So everybody wants to make a buck in this business. We don't need to make $1 billion in this movie, but we'd like to make sure that my investors get their money back. I want them to at least break even
because we want to see more investment in film.
We want to see more investment in film, and people that are involved in this movie, like Sean Hannity, if we break him even, he'll invest in my next one right away again, and that's all we're asking for. We're not asking for the $1 billion, Pirates of the Caribbean, where they have $300 million to make a movie. We shot this movie in $3 million. That's like catering on Pirates of the Caribbean. Right. So, but these are like I said, movies that people will care about and people stand up and cheer when they see it.
Yeah, with the state of the American family today, you've got rise in divorce rates. You've got an epidemic of fatherlessness. You've got a lot of people living in brokenness and in pain. Did you make this movie for people like that who are dealing with those issues?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the movie deals with a lot of those issues, and that just happens to be one of them.
Right.
I mean, you take the riots in Baltimore, for instance.
Sure.
Okay, you look at the mostly 30 and younger males that were out there destroying public and private property and going crazy and just rioting and just angry and hate. Do you think any of those young men out there, if they had biblical principles taught to them, if they had godly values in their lives, would they be out there doing what they're doing? Of course not. They would not be out there.
Survival of the fittest. Huh?
Survival of the fittest. That's what they were taught.
So the film tested really well with women.
Yeah.
Women love the film. Men love it even more. And I think it's because we address the fatherhood crisis. This is a man in crisis. Yeah. He's in crisis as a father, and he's in crisis with the father. Mm-hmm. And we have a crisis of fatherhood in this country, and I think it's in part because we have a crisis with the father above. And so our hope is that people can see that there is light, there is a God that cares about them, and that they can somehow find reconciliation, because Jesus taught forgiveness, right?
Right.
If you can't forgive, you're gone. There's no hope. Hillary came out and called half the country deplorable and irredeemable. Irredeemable means worthy of death. That's what irredeemable means. It means scum, garbage, cast them out. We don't hold that anybody's irredeemable.
She's basically calling people of faith call that. So that's what
Yes.
she's calling people straight of faith, that they're irredeemable.
And we don't hold that anybody's irredeemable. In fact, the message of Jesus Christ was everybody's redeemable, everybody has value, every life has value. And that's the tenet that this country was built on, is that every life has value. We hold these truths to be self-evident. or sorry, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right?
Yes.
That all men are created equal by their Creator and endowed with these
Unalienable rights.
these rights, right? Yeah. And so that's what we should be upholding as a country and as individuals. But if we're teaching survival of the fittest in our classrooms, I don't know how you're going to make that leap. And parents wonder, they turn their children over in public schools to virtual strangers and have their children taught these things that do not coincide with their personal values. And then they wonder that their children argue with them and differ from them and become distant. It's a lot more fun if you believe in survival of the fittest, if you believe in living for the moment, if you believe in just having fun. It's a lot more fun to begin with. It's a lot more attractive, right? They can sell the children on this lie, they will have them for a long time.
Well, that's what they're doing in public education. They're saying that the government can raise your child better than you can. That's what they're saying.
And, hopefully this is the message that people have been looking for while they've been facing all of those things that you just mentioned.
Let there be light.
It's a message of hope. That's what it is. It's a message of hope.
And it's sorely needed
Yes.
in this this era of pain and confusion that people are facing. Well, thank you very much for coming on. You can see the movie on October 27th in theaters, and I believe you've also made it readily available for pastors and churches?
That's correct, on the website. So just go to the website, lettherebelightmovie.com, /pastors, actually. If you're a pastor and you sign up and you get a free screener. Mm-hmm. We want pastors to be able to use the movie to grow the church. We want people to find solace and comfort in church. That's one of the reasons we go to church, right? To understand that we are loved.
Absolutely.
Everybody's looking for love. Most people in all the wrong places. So yes, lettherebelightmovie.com comes out October 27th.
Yep.
The book drops tomorrow, I think. It's available for pre-sale on Amazon.com.
Oh, fantastic.
Let There Be Light, and hardback and paperback. So if you want to read the book hurry up, you can read the book before the movie comes out. Text LTBL, Let There Be Light. Text LTBL to 54900 for a free chapter download.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
And for those of you at home, thank you for being with us tonight. Be sure to go see Let There Be Light October 27th in theaters and check out the book as well. I'm Josh Gill with the Daily Caller News Foundation.